We talked to some of the players about being their first moments in the college football playoff, but for you, this is another opportunity with your previous experience at TCU. Maybe what some of the lessons are you taking from that experience to this one to help some of the players without that playoff experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, with anything, I mean, when you have experience with something, that you're always going to kind of draw from that, and you know, trying to expose our players as much as possible with the things that I have learned. You know, and I think ultimately, what we've challenged our guys with, what Coach Sweeney's challenged our team with, as he's been in a lot of these as well. You know, is at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to the fundamental things that we're about. Like, it really is, and as boring as that sounds. So we're really trying to hammer that home with our guys. Obviously, they're going to be excited. It's going to be a great environment. You know, but at the end of the day, it's going to be about how we play and our mentality and all the things that's led us up to this point. We just got to do it at a high rate and have high execution with. So just trying to instill that into our guys as much as possible going into this week.
I guess how much more prepared do you feel like Cade is for a game like this going back home to Austin than he would have been last year?
Yeah, I mean, he's just everybody, right? I mean, everybody just feel like we're in a much better spot. He's got a ton of experience as opposed to what he had a year ago, and he's been through a lot. Our team's been through a lot, so yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to draw on his own experiences thus far in the games that he's been in and has had to play through and had success, had failure, and so I think he's just going to be able to rely on his preparation and the experience he has up to this point.
Looking back at these last two games, Deb talked yesterday about, you know, the offense has had some chances to put games away or put the other drives, South Carolina, SMU. As you kind of look back on the film on those two, what have kind of held you back, do you think, in those two games in the second half?
Well, I mean, we had some chances really in both games to probably put them away, honestly, in the first half, you know, and you know, just didn't make a play here or there, and then just the way the games have gone, you know, we probably didn't stay on the gas as much as I'd like to, you know, and that's always hindsight's 20/20, you know, when you come off the game, but you know, that's trying to draw off of the last 2 weeks for sure on how we can hopefully close a little bit better and keep the momentum going a little bit longer with what we've had offensively the last couple of games.
As a coordinator, what's maybe the feel you mentioned about putting your foot on the gas, maybe not trying to put your foot on the gas? What's maybe your feel as an offensive coordinator to know when to turn up the juice versus trying to be more conservative?
I think it's always kind of back to the feel of the game and kind of where your players are at. Like, I think it always kind of comes back to that. You know, what you're doing well, who's hot at that point, you know, what they're going to be doing in those situations. I mean, it always changes too. Later you get in the game, it probably, if the other team's down, that could change some things and some different variables for you offensively. So it's just a lot of that. But I think short answer is probably just more feel than anything.
Going back to the SMU game, Jay Haynes' injury, how did that kind of impact you guys in the second half with your ability to run the ball? With Maffa dealing with this?
Yeah, I mean, it just affected us just from a rep standpoint of just kind of how we repped a lot of those running backs last week, losing him and some of the package stuff that we had for him in that game. It certainly kind of altered some of the things that we could do late in that second half. You know, but definitely excited about our guys and their opportunity this week. You know, with Keith and Easy behind them, and we're going to need them.
Garrett, what's impressed you the most about Cade's development this year? I remember you telling us in the preseason you thought his running ability could be an X factor for you guys, and at the time, as a guy who hadn't really run a lot last year, it sounded kind of funny, but that's proven to be the case. Is it willingness to take off and run and the designed runs? Like, where do you see the most improvement in his game over the course of this year?
I mean, the running ability for sure, and I would lean more towards just scrambling and creating as opposed to maybe just some design stuff. I mean, we've had some design here and there that he's capitalized on, but I think it probably in totality, it's more of knowing when to run, when to take off, and just being a force and an extra element. I think that's given us a ton this year in some critical situations and critical downs that I can think of off the top of my head right now. So, I mean, that's number one. That would be one of the top things. You know, the other, I think, is just becoming more routine in the execution part, like just things that we know that are there. he knows it's there. It's just making that routine play. Like he's just doing that at a much higher rate than he obviously did a year ago.
You guys have been saying for a while now you haven't played your best football. You haven't played a four-quarter game really on both sides of the ball, all three factors of the ball. Is that exciting to know that like that threshold's still ahead of you? And then how do you balance trying to find that and fine-tuning how to click into that mode, especially now in the playoffs when it's all or nothing every game?
Yeah, I mean, no, to me, it's exciting. Like high school, you always hear it. You know, you want to be playing your best ball around playoff time when you're in high school, and now that's really the case for us. And where this thing is headed is you want to be playing your best ball towards the end of the season. And so we feel like that's still ahead of us. We still feel like that's untapped. You know, and then again, how do you approach that going into this week and go play your best football? I just think you emphasize it, but at the same time, it's don't make it bigger than it is, right? Like there's got to be a fine line of our guys playing loose and having confidence and all those things that I think they have right now. You know, but I do feel like we as a team feel like it's untapped potential for us to go do exactly that. And obviously, this would be a hell of a time to go do it.
Feels like more and more throughout the season you're putting a lot of trust in your freshman receivers, especially to win on the boundaries. That's something that maybe the defense has been giving you, or is that just a trust that's grown over time?
I just think it's development, more towards the development of those wideouts, and then just some of the trust level with them and Cade and us putting them hopefully in some good situations. So I just think it's more of a developmental part of it as opposed to maybe what defenses are giving us. I just think we're attacking that just a little bit more naturally and gaining some confidence with those throws.
Just going back to the running backs, kind of what has the balance been between kind of Phil and his health and what he's able to do as opposed to some of the younger guys and what their strengths are, and trying to balance between why he's the best option while the other guys are fully healthy but maybe don't have quite some of the aspects of pass protection maybe.
Right. Yeah, I think it's always it's definitely a balance of balancing act of, all right, when you're in game, seeing how Phil's doing and how he's playing and performing, and then us being willing to adjust if we need to. And that's kind of always the deal as a coach of you know, what we're going to have to do in this game for sure.
Will you guys, I guess, Texas, it holds over 100,000 people, home playoff game. I guess, will you guys kind of employ a silent count to try to block out the noise of how you guys kind of handle the atmosphere of Texas?
Yeah, I mean, really any road game, and we know it's going to be loud, and there will be certain times where it's extremely loud, but you're always going to prepare for crowd noise and what you got to do just from an operational standpoint. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to have to prepare for that.
Garrett, Texas #1 in the nation in pass defense. They've only allowed 4 passing touchdowns all year. I think maybe the flip side of that is you can say they haven't played a ton of top-tier passing offenses, but what are the challenges that Texas presents defensively and in the secondary?
I mean, they're a great defense. I mean, I think they're well coached. You know, I really don't see a weakness on their side of the ball. I mean, they're big up front. I think their linebackers are really productive players. And then obviously their secondary is strong, got some veteran guys that play a lot of football, and I just think they're really, really good at what they do. So it's a great challenge for us, one that I know we're excited about. But yeah, I think you know, obviously they're playing at a high level and have played at a high level for most of the season on defense. So it'll be a great challenge for us. I got a lot of respect for how they play, and you can just tell how they're coached. I got a ton of respect, you know, watching and trying to game plan against them.
Have you ever seen numbers like that, like 4 passing touchdowns allowed over the course of an entire season?
Well, the one that kind of is off the top of my head, that I can't remember the exact stat, but I think I was at SMU and we played Cincinnati. It was the year Cincinnati went to the college football playoff, and they had the Thorpe Award winner at one corner, and oh, by the way, Sauce Gardner was the other corner, and one of their safeties was a high draft pick. Like that's kind of what I see over there. Like it's a really, really strong group, so it'll be a fun opportunity.
What was it like to get Tyler Brown back for the Talladega? I know he didn't play a ton, but just getting him back acclimated.
Yeah, I mean, just getting better and better, but it's great to have him back and practicing and moving around and looking full speed and just all those things. I mean, it's great to have him back because we're going to need him, you know, and obviously the more you have depth and can move guys around and and things like that. It makes you feel better, but it's been great to see him, and he's got a good energy about him too. So there's apart from just the skill set side of it, like there's a good presence that he has about him that he brings just our sideline, our team when he's in there. So it's great to see Tyler back.
As a Texas guy yourself, just what's this trip back gonna be like for you?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, just playing in a college football game, playoff game, it's awesome, and to do it in your home state and to do it at DKR, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be hostile. It's gonna be a great environment. It's gonna be awesome. But you gotta approach it really like every other game. So I'm sure we'll have some family and some Texas ties and all that'll be there, in the crowd. But yeah, just looking forward to the moment.
Did Dell say you had a new addition to your family?
I do. Had a few things going on here this time of the year. Yep, had a couple things going on. Last few days been a blur.
How